I thought I would celebrate today with a favourite reading from the Bible. So this is Psalm 116, verse 11. I said in my haste, all men are liars. Thank you.
I find Ashley James so deeply offensive. I think she's vile. I am most outraged that she markets herself as a voice for women, but I've not seen her speak out about the hundreds of thousands of British children that have been raped, groomed, failed, trafficked. Ashley James, in her £1.7 million South West London house, can fuck right off.
She represents a caste and a caste of mind in the media in particular, but also in the political establishment, which actually ultimately is bent on a course of suicide for our country.
I mean, sitting there with the boobs hanging out like that, talking about the Bible, you know, it was disgusting.
But Neil Hamilton, I think Lauren makes a very good point. Could you imagine woke ITV and This Morning standing by Ashley James if she had criticised the Quran in the same way she criticised the Bible? And if she had done it during Ramadan, Neil, let me tell you what would have happened to Ashley James. She would have been sacked. She would have been immediately sacked. She would have been gone.
Every now and then, a moment from daytime television spills out of the studio and turns into something much bigger than anyone expected. What might have seemed like just another passing remark suddenly becomes a lightning rod, sparking outrage, debate, and a flood of opinions from every direction. And that's exactly what's happening here. Because this isn't just about one comment or one episode. It's about a growing tension in modern media where entertainment, belief, and boundaries are constantly colliding.
You're right. She's another of these limousine liberal lefties who lives a life of total hypocrisy, of course, coining it with on one hand whilst trying to be the opposite to her public. But we need to recognise that as a result of the growing Islamization of the United Kingdom, a new law of blasphemy is being introduced into this country, where everybody is fair game apart from Islam and particularly Christianity. It's as though there's a kind of reverse law of blasphemy that we've now got, that is compulsory to be insulting to the Christian religion and to offend the sensibilities of millions of our countrymen to whom their beliefs are just as important as those of the Islamists are important to them. And whilst I don't want to see a law of blasphemy in this country of any kind, I nevertheless object most strongly to one religion which actually ultimately seems in its most aggressive form to want to take over the world and therefore to deny to us our own culture and heritage, and to do so in the most violent and aggressive terms. You know, we all remember the Charlie Hebdo incidents and so on a few years ago, where free speech has been curtailed as a result of our need to assuage the growing political arm of Islam. So, I think the people like Ashley James, who actually I have no time for whatsoever, I hardly ever heard of her, in fact. So she's a person of no significance to me whatsoever. But she represents a caste and a caste of mind in the media in particular, but also in the political establishment, which actually ultimately is bent on a course of suicide for our country. That's exactly what's happening to us, in my opinion, and at a pace which we could scarcely have believed only a generation ago. So we need to wise up about these people. And ITV ought to recognise that it's failed to observe its own rules and regulations. And whatever you think about insulting people's religions, if you're signed up under your own regulatory code not to do that sort of thing, then persons like Ashley, who have infringed the rules, ought to be punished for doing so.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, Christine, it's interesting because I feel slightly responsible for the sort of recreation of Ashley James as some type of left-wing commentator, because she was actually a reality TV star on Made in Chelsea, but during my time on GB News, and she came on as one of these leftists. But what I noticed, Christine, is that she became more and more extreme as time went on.
Well, the penny's just dropped with me who she is. I was about to say I'd never heard of her in my life, but actually I've sat on your sofa
Yeah, do you
on
remember?
GB News with her. I had completely forgotten.
And
I
what she
thought that
used to
video-
do, Christine, I remember Adam Brooks exposed her for this and she was furious about it. She would listen to the Jane, because she's not the sharpest tool, okay? Let's just be
you
honest
can
about
say
it.
that again.
Yeah.
She's certainly not.
Yeah, and she used to listen to James O'Brien's show on LBC in the morning and would make screeds of notes, which she would then bring into the GB News studio and literally read off her notepad. And I remember it did used to drive Adam Brooks mad because he'd be like, "You've just got that from the James O'Brien show."
Yeah, I'd forgotten that too because he sat next to her. Adam was squashed between me on one side and Ashley on the other. She's not the brightest brain in the box, and I didn't know she'd gone to This Morning. I mean, frankly, I don't give a damn. But I did find that video, whatever it was on TikTok or wherever, deeply offensive. I mean, sitting there with the boobs hanging out like that, talking about the Bible, you know, it was disgusting, frankly. And she's obviously been to see Zach Polanski and had a bit of.
Well, there we are.
Oh,
Oh, well done in the background, Jessie, I imagine, who's thrown that up. Isn't that extraordinary? I mean, I completely thrown what I was thinking about it because, of course, I used to see her several weeks, really, week in and week out for a long time. No, I thought that was grotesque. I mean, Neil said it all about the way the Church of England is fair game for. Of course, it's supposed to be fair game. Everything ought to be fair game. But we're now building up a solid. Oh, no, please don't show it again. I really don't want to see it. It's just horrific. All she's doing there is promoting herself. It's all self-interest. It's like so many of these, what are they called? Influencer. I know she has a job as well on ITV. But I mean, ITV ought to, I would have thought, haul her over the coals for that. I mean, it was grotesque. Absolutely grotesque. Yeah. But as Neil says, the Christian religion is absolutely fair game. We're not, you know, we get no protection whatsoever. Whereas any other religion, you go to the tower if you so much as speak out about the smallest bit. I've forgotten what the question was.
No, it was very well answered. But look, stand by, you two, because we're about to reveal today's Greatest Britain and Union Jackass. But first, I just want to go to someone's feedback because we've just got a great super chat in here from Jermaine C. Wisdom, who says, "We cannot wait for politicians to save us. Everyone is mixing in every single day. By then, we won't be European anymore." And Defiant Fox says about Sadiq Khan, Sadiq the Butcher Khan, every death in London is more blood on his hands. Lady Puddycat, thank you so much, Lady Puddycat, sent out 5 outspoken messages. Gift our nominations today. Neil Hamilton went for David Lammy for his reparations claptrap. Christine Hamilton went for Rachel Podolak, the CEO of the BMA, who refused their own staff a decent rise because of unaffordability, yet she is quite happy to demand it from the taxpayer. And Bishop Karen H. Diwa nominated Lee Garzan for her absurd 20-plus letter acronym and complaints of no money being offered for the ongoing genocide of those ultra-long alphabet categories. And it is just worth looking at her ludicrous video once more.
The real question is, are audiences becoming more sensitive, or are shows becoming more careless? At the heart of it all is Ashley James, someone who has built her presence on being outspoken, opinionated, and unafraid to challenge norms. That's part of what makes her appealing to some viewers, but it's also what makes moments like this so explosive. Because when a public figure consistently pushes boundaries, there's always a risk. Eventually, one of those boundaries might push back. And in today's media environment, that pushback doesn't happen quietly. It happens instantly, publicly, and often harshly. What's fascinating here is how quickly this situation escalated.
MMIW G2SLGBTQQIA+. This is abhorrent.
Oh, good Lord, good Lord. Okay, I have to be honest with you. It wasn't close today. It wasn't even slightly close. In third position, with 6% of the vote, unfortunately for you, Christine, is Rachel Podolak. The runner-up with 7% of the vote, Bishop Diwa and Lee Garson. But it is an overwhelming win today for Neil Hamilton. 87% have voted David Lammy
Hey,
as
I
today's
would-
Union Jackass.
Can I just reveal a family secret? I told him to go for Lammy.
So you're going to claim, okay, well, we'll just give it to the Hamiltons, okay? We'll give the joint win to the Hamiltons. But this is going to be quite a poll because, you know, we put the Union Jackasses head to head to be named the worst Britain in the world this week. I'm going to launch that in the post tab on YouTube straight after the live show.
A single moment didn't just stay within the confines of a TV broadcast. It spread across social media, where context can shift, interpretations can change, and reactions can intensify within minutes. This is the reality of modern media. The audience is no longer just watching. They're participating, judging, amplifying, and sometimes even reshaping the narrative entirely.
Future King up against two of the most corrupted politicians of all time. Come on, you've got to go for Khan or Lammy, surely.
Yeah.
And today's Greatest Britain, nominated jointly by the Hamiltons as well, is Richard Walker. Now, this is the boss of Iceland, but Christine, do you want to explain why you've gone for this dude?
Yes, I mean, he's a rampant Labour supporter, so it might be odd that we nominate him. But as you say, he's the boss of Iceland, and he has offered a job at Iceland to the Waitrose worker who was sacked for trying to apprehend a shoplifter, roughly speaking.
Yeah,
So
that
good
was
for
shocking.
him. He's a good egg, is Richard Walker. He's a very good egg all round.
That was a shocking story, and good on him. I hope he goes and gets a job in Iceland, because Waitrose, unfortunately, they've got very good food, but they have very bad management and very bad politics, which is going to put people off, actually, because we have a lot of choice.
Nothing wrong with Iceland food, Dan.
No, indeed,
It's just very cold.
I love it. What's the the thing that Kerry Katoni used to promote all the time? The frozen prawns there.